Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going to dive into something pretty wild.
Oh, yeah.
Humanoid robots. And we're not talking the clunky robots from old sci-fi movies.
Right.
We're talking about robots that are so lifelike they're kind of blurring the lines between human and machine. You sent in some awesome articles for this one.
Yeah, they're really fascinating.
So from what I've seen, we're talking about robots with realistic faces, fluid movements, even synthetic skin.
Right, you can barely tell it from the real thing.
It's pretty mind-blowing. By the end of this deep dive, you're going to understand what makes these robots tick, the groundbreaking ways they're already being used, and the really, really big questions that they pose for our future.
It really is amazing to think about how quickly the field is evolving. We've gone from basic industrial robots to machines capable of complex human interactions. And it's all happened in just a few decades.
Yeah.
It's really pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible with AI, material science, everything.
All right, so let's start with the basics. What exactly makes a humanoid robot different from just any other robot?
Well, the key is in their design. Humanoid robots are specifically engineered to resemble and move like humans.
Right.
It's not just about aesthetics, though. It's about facilitating interaction and integration into human-centric environments.
So they need to be able to fit in, essentially.
Exactly. They need to be able to work alongside us and interact with us in a natural way.
Gotcha. So when we see a humanoid robot, our brains are kind of tricked into thinking we're seeing another person, and that makes us more comfortable interacting with them.
Yeah. Think about robots like Erica, designed to be a news presenter.
Oh yeah, I read about her.
Her lifelike appearance and natural speech, it's all intentional. It's meant to make her relatable, engaging for a human audience.
That makes a lot of sense. So it sounds like creating these robots involves a fusion of a whole bunch of different cutting-edge technologies.
It really does.
What are the core components that make them tick?
It's a pretty complex interplay of three key elements. Sophisticated AI,
Okay.
advanced robotics design, and an intricate network of sensors and cameras.
Wow.
Yeah, let's break those down a little further. Huh?
Yeah, let's do it. So first up, AI. Artificial intelligence is such a hot topic these days, but how's it being applied specifically to humanoid robots?
Well, you can think of AI as the brain of these robots.
Okay.
It allows them to process information, learn from experiences, and even make decisions based on the data they gather.
Wow.
It's all about algorithms like machine learning and deep learning. These algorithms enable robots to recognize patterns, understand human language, and adapt their behavior accordingly.
So they can learn and evolve over time.
Exactly. It's pretty remarkable. Imagine, for example, a robot designed for customer service.
Okay.
It needs to be able to understand a customer's query, even if it's phrased in a really roundabout way. Then it has to access a database of information to provide a helpful and relevant response. All of that is powered by AI.
That's incredible. So AI gives them the ability to think and learn. But what about the physical side of things, the actual body of the robot? From the articles you sent, it seems like there have been some massive leaps forward in how these robots are actually constructed.
You're absolutely right. Robotics design has become unbelievably sophisticated.
Really?
Yeah. We're seeing engineers using super lightweight, yet durable materials like carbon fiber.
Okay.
And these advanced alloys to create skeletal structures that mimic the range and fluidity of human movement.
That's so cool.
It is. And then there's the development of artificial muscles, using materials like electroactive polymers that can actually contract and expand, giving robots more lifelike dexterity and agility.
So they can move and react more naturally.
Right, precisely. It's all about creating robots that can move and interact with the world in a way that feels very human.
And then, of course, we can't forget about the advancements in synthetic skin.
Oh yeah, the skin. That's what really freaks me out. It looks so real. It's gotten incredibly realistic. We're talking about materials that not only look like real skin, but can also sense pressure and temperature. It adds another layer of complexity to their interaction with the world.
Wow. So it's they can actually feel things in a way.
In a sense, yeah. It allows them to respond to touch and changes in their environment in a more nuanced way.
It's kind of creepy, but also amazing at the same time.
I know, right? It really makes you think about what it means to be human.
Okay, so we've talked about the AI brain and the incredible robotics design of their bodies, but how do these robots actually perceive and interact with their surroundings? They need more than just a brain and a body, right?
Exactly. And that's where the intricate network of sensors and cameras comes in.
Okay.
Think of these as the robot's senses, allowing them to see, hear, and even feel their environment. High-resolution cameras are capturing visual data. Microphones are picking up sounds. Tactile sensors embedded in their skin allow them to respond to touch. All of that sensory data is then fed back to the AI, allowing the robot to build a detailed understanding of its surroundings and then react accordingly.
So it's like their senses are constantly feeding information to their brain, which is then processing it and making decisions about how to act.
Exactly. Imagine a humanoid robot designed to help with elder care.
Right.
You could use its sensors to detect if a person has fallen, analyze their facial expressions to figure out their emotional state, even monitor vital signs for any irregularities. It's really amazing.
It sounds like these robots are capable of some seriously complex interactions. So how are these incredible machines actually being used in the real world? Is it all still in the experimental phase, or are there concrete examples of them actually making a difference?
Well, that's where it gets even more interesting. And I think that's a perfect place to pick up in part 2 of our deep dive.
I completely agree. This is already blowing my mind. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back in part 2, we'll explore some of the amazing real-life applications of these humanoid robots. Stick around.
We were talking about the amazing capabilities of humanoid robots, right? And how they're starting to move beyond the lab and into the real world.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty remarkable to think about them tackling like real-world tasks and challenges.
It is. It really is.
One thing that really stuck with me from the articles was their use in elder care.
Oh, absolutely.
It seems like such a natural fit, offering companionship and practical help to people who often face isolation and increasing care needs.
It's a very promising area, and we're already seeing it being used in places like Japan.
Right, I read about that.
Yeah, Japan has a rapidly aging population. So these robots can provide reminders for things like medication or help with simple household tasks. They can even engage in conversations and monitor vital signs.
It's amazing.
It really is about alleviating some of the burdens on both the elderly person and their caregivers, and also just enhancing their quality of life.
That's fantastic. But I gotta ask, are they really up to the task of providing that kind of emotional support and connection? I mean, that seems like a very sensitive and nuanced role for a robot to fill.
You're right. It is a great question. And the answer is kind of complex. I mean, robots can't replicate true human empathy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But they can be programmed to respond in ways that feel supportive and comforting.
Okay.
They can learn to recognize facial expressions and tones of voice and adjust their responses accordingly. It's not a perfect solution, obviously.
Yeah.
But it can offer a very valuable supplement to human interaction, especially in situations where constant companionship is just, not really feasible.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like using technology to complement and enhance human care, not replace it entirely. The articles also talked about robots being used in customer service roles, which I thought was really interesting. Can you imagine walking into a store and being greeted by a robot salesperson?
Oh, it's already happening. I mean, some places at least.
Really?
Yeah. These robots are being used to answer FAQs, guide customers to specific products, even process transactions.
Wow.
The goal is to streamline the shopping experience and free up human employees to handle more complex or personalized interactions. The things that robots aren't quite equipped for yet.
I can definitely see the appeal for businesses, especially in like high traffic environments where employees can get overwhelmed. And I love the idea of a robot that never gets tired or frustrated or delivers, inconsistent service.
Yeah, they're always on their A game.
But what about the jobs? Isn't there a concern that all these robots are going to like displace human workers?
It's a valid concern, absolutely. And it's something we need to consider carefully as this technology keeps developing. But, history has shown us that while technological advancements often lead to shifts in the job market, they also create new opportunities.
Yeah.
Think about the rise of the internet.
Right.
It led to so many new industries and job roles that we couldn't have even imagined before. So, it's about adapting to these changes and focusing on those uniquely human skills that robots, at least for now, can't replicate.
I like that. It's about finding that balance, figuring out how humans and robots can best work together, leveraging each other's strengths.
Exactly.
Speaking of strengths, you mentioned earlier that these robots are being used in some pretty unexpected areas, like even in the arts. There was an article about a robot artist named Ai-Da. I thought that was so fascinating. Can you tell us a little bit more about her?
Ai-Da is a fantastic example of how AI and robotics are pushing the boundaries of creativity. I mean, what even is creativity anymore?
I know, it's wild.
She's equipped with cameras that act as her eyes. allowing her to see the world. And then she uses AI algorithms to process that visual information and translate it into original artwork. She has a robotic arm that she uses to actually, draw or paint.
A robot can create, truly original art. Does that mean that a machine can be creative?
Right. It's crazy.
It definitely seems to blur the lines between human and artificial intelligence in a way that's both really exciting and a little unsettling, don't you think?
It is. It's like, what does it even mean to be human anymore?
Exactly. It's pretty deep. But let's bring it back to the practical side for a moment. The article also mentioned robots being used in healthcare, which I thought was interesting because that seems like an incredibly high-stakes environment.
Yeah.
Are they really ready to be assisting in medical procedures or caring for patients?
It's definitely an area that requires extreme precision and care. Safety and reliability are paramount. But humanoid robots are already being used in certain healthcare settings for tasks that require really meticulous attention to detail or repetitive actions.
They can assist surgeons during complex surgeries,
providing steady hands and unparalleled precision. They can also help with things like patient rehabilitation, guiding them through exercises, providing consistent support. It's not about replacing doctors and nurses. It's about giving them tools to improve patient outcomes.
It's amazing how this technology is being applied across so many different fields. We've gone from elder care to retail to art to healthcare. It seems like the possibilities really are endless, and honestly, it's pretty awe-inspiring to see the ingenuity and innovation driving this field forward.
It is amazing.
But of course, there have to be challenges too, right? We can't just ignore the potential downsides and ethical dilemmas that come along with this technology.
You're absolutely right. Every technological advancement comes with challenges and potential pitfalls. We've already talked about some of them, like the impact on the job market and the blurring lines between human and machine. But there are also other ethical considerations that need to be addressed, like data privacy, algorithmic bias, even the potential for this technology to be misused. We need to be really careful and ensure that we're using these advancements responsibly and ethically.
You're so right. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of new technology, but we have to remember that it's a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. I'm glad we're having these conversations.
Me too. It's so important that we think about these things and that we develop and deploy this technology in a way that benefits all of humanity, not just a select few.
I agree. So we've spent this whole deep dive exploring the world of humanoid robots, their incredible capabilities, their real-world applications, and even the ethical challenges they bring up.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has. It's
Yep.
clear that they're not just science fiction anymore.
Nope.
They're rapidly evolving reality. So where do we go from here? What does the future hold for these, remarkable machines?
The potential is, it's pretty vast and really exciting. As these technologies keep advancing, I think we'll see humanoid robots becoming even more integrated into our lives, filling roles we can barely imagine today.
It's kind of mind-boggling to think about.
Right.
The article mentioned the impact on healthcare, and that just seems like an area that's ripe for transformation. Could we see robots performing complex surgeries, providing personalized therapy, even offering companionship to those who need it most?
Absolutely. Just imagine a world where surgical robots operate with superhuman precision, minimizing risks and improving outcomes for patients. Or think about AI-powered companions, providing personalized care and support to people struggling with loneliness or chronic illness.
Wow.
It's really about using these technologies to enhance human well-being and create a healthier, more vibrant future. Wouldn't that be amazing?
It would, but it's also, a little bit daunting. If robots become so advanced, so integrated into our lives, what does that even mean for us? For what it means to be human?
That is a profound question, and I don't think anyone really has the answer yet. But it highlights why it's so important to have these conversations, to really think about the philosophical and societal implications of this technology. As we create these increasingly sophisticated robots, we're also being forced to re-examine our own humanity, our values, our place in the world.
It's pretty deep stuff. You've given us so much to think about. So for our listeners who are clearly just as fascinated by this topic as we are, what are some key takeaways you want them to remember about the future of humanoid robots?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. The future isn't set in stone. It's not predetermined. It's something that we are actively shaping through the choices we make today. We have the power to steer this technology in a direction that benefits humanity. A future where robots complement and enhance our lives rather than replace or diminish us.
It's a powerful message, for sure, of hope and responsibility. As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with a sense of wonder and a renewed appreciation for the boundless possibilities of human ingenuity.
That's wonderful to hear. It has been a truly fascinating exploration, and I hope our listeners have gained a deeper understanding of this complex and ever-evolving world of humanoid robots. Remember, the future is not something to be feared. It's something to embrace, with curiosity, critical thinking, and a commitment to shaping it for the better.
Well said. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of humanoid robots. And to our listeners, until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep imagining the future you want to create.